Greetings and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. I am your host, Dr. G, and I'm so glad that you could keep our appointment. Now, if you are concerned about your financial future, wondering whether it's too late to invest in gold and silver and other precious metals, and you want to stay tuned and maybe even share and click, like you like it already and let somebody else know about tonight. Yes, I'm talking about horologist Steven Nkiru Richardson, who was here a few months ago and giving us a lot of information about not only the amazing timepieces he crafts, but he wet our taste buds a bit about his extensive knowledge with precious metals, in particular gold, silver, platinum, and the like. Tonight, Steven Nkiru Richardson returns with an urgent, I'd say somewhat urgent update on the global state of financial affairs as he presents Power of Precious Metals, Part 2. Now, he is the founder of Nkiru Watch Company, which over 30 years with over 30 years of experience in precious metals, fine jewelry, and watches. He's a renowned watchmaker, educator, artisan, and author. Steven Nkiru Richardson's vast career was born out of countless hours handcrafting and sculpting original works of wearable art under the guardianship of master metalsmith Emerson Hogan. He learned how to apply age-old artisan techniques to his sculpture. Richardson's fascination with antiquity and mechanics curiously led him to the science of horology, which is the art of making clocks and watches. Well, as a watchmaker, Richardson gained celebrity status as commissions rolled in from his long-standing influential clients. Later, celebrities and collectors looking for fresh, unusually crafted, complicated timepieces followed suit. Now his evolution brings him back to his original roots as a sculptor, reinventing his intimate relationships to metal crafting, curating captivating works using the finest precious metals, diamonds, and gemstones. He coined his recent work art permanently. So I want to welcome back to Office Hours with Dr. G.
Greetings. How you doing, Dr. G? I think my screen's froze.
I think you done turned to frozen.
All right, let me try to come back in. I'm in the States now. Before I was in Brazil, but let me try to come back in. Give me a few minutes.
Okay, y'all. Listen. So while he's doing that, why don't you press like, give us a thumbs up, share, because excuse me. He's going to be talking about gold and silver and other metals, platinum, but not only he's talking about them, but there are cycles that are involved with the up and down of the values of these precious metals. And with the times that we're in now, it is very important for us to know where we are in the cycle. Like I said in the beginning, if you are wondering whether or not, it's let me see if I can get him back on here, whether or not it's time, timing is good. I was saying that, and I'm blurry over here, y'all. So unless it's me, I can't see. But we're talking about cycles. When last time we were speaking, you and I offline, you were explaining to me that this is what we're going through is cyclical. These things have happened before. We may not have had the particular events that we've been seeing happening over the last, say, 4 or 5 years here at stateside, or even globally, because what's been going on has been, oh my, we lost him again, y'all. We'll get him back. But while he's coming on back, let's click share. Let somebody know, because you want to know the value. And it's for some of us, or us, it may be good news. We may have amassed enough precious metals, particularly silver and gold, to find out that we, almost may become millionaires because of the value. I believe, and I'm not going to kind of second guess where he told me silver was possibly gone, but whatever that number was, it excited me, y'all. And if you've been, stacking silver with Dr. G or some other methods, over the last at least 4 years with me, and then of course Grand Sheik has been talking about the importance of us having silver and gold for the times. He's been saying, I met Grand Sheik in 2011, and he was saying this back in 2011. So for me, this has been like 13 years of admonishment to get some silver, get gold if you can, but definitely get silver, because we learned that we can turn silver into gold. We can turn, if you will, the fiat into silver and the silver into gold. How many remember that in the last time when Brother Steven was here and he showed us the alchemy? Let's see if we got it in here yet. Okay,
all right. See if
all right, let's try to get you to say something. Okay, y'all.
All right.
I was trying to remember and bring them
Yes.
back to where we were the last time when you taught us how to turn. I said fiat into silver, silver into gold. It was, alchemically, and you gave us the formula of how to do that. But
yes.
you know what? You frozen again, but you talking. So I'm just stay there.
All right. I'll stay there for a meantime.
Stay there
Okay.
for a minute. Stay there for a minute, because it seems like I don't know what connection we're dealing with, or maybe it's something that folks don't want folks to know about. But the fact that silver, let me look in the comments. The fact that silver is a not silver. What is it? What was I going to say? Oh, the prices, the values of silver, gold, and other precious metals is cyclical. Could you explain what that means? Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me? All
I
right.
can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Just can't. You're not moving. We just got you froze on the screen. But that's okay.
All right. It's all good. All right.
Okay. First of all, I just asked you a question, but first of all, welcome back stateside, I guess, because the last time you were on the show, you were in Brazil. You were at Brazil rather, and now you are in the New York area, because I take it that you spend half your time in Brazil at Brazil, and then the other half stateside. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me back on the show, Dr. G. And I'd like to say to the audience, thank you for your response from the last time I was on. You have such a quality audience, group of people that I encountered with over the period of the time from today. And yes, I am in New York now. So I spent about almost 5 years in Brazil. And I've been back in the stateside for the last 2 months. I'm currently in New York. And those who would like to meet me, we have some announcements as far as the different shows that will be coming up. And we can touch on that a little bit later.
Okay. Well, welcome back stateside. So
Thank
with that,
you.
with that, we're talking about the power of precious metals again, but because last time we were focusing more initially on your horology, your work as a horologist, as making these timepieces that are designer and precious. But you did give us towards the end some very valuable information with regard to gold and silver. You sent us to a site. I'm not sure I remember the site, but you let us see, the various, the way the values and so forth were compared to silver, compared to gold. And you explained to me, and very well, but I must admit that I'm a little dense sense in some cases. And I know you were explaining to me how at one point the cost of silver had exceeded the cost of gold. Can you just could take us back a little bit to, since we're talking cycles, when was the last time we were in a situation that we're facing now, and where are we now in that cycle?
Yes, yes, excellent question. So the last time gold and silver peaked, let's just say that, and silver outperformed gold was approximately 2011. And for example, the cycle would, I'm going to get into some charts later, 2000 to 2011, 11-year cycle, gold went from 250 to about $2,000. It's like an eightfold move. Silver went from about $4 and some change to $48, which is about somewhere about a 10 to 11-fold move. So in performance wise, silver outperformed gold, whereas though the ratio fell down to about 36 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. So and was high as 120, before that time, 120 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. So when that ratio falls, that is showing that silver is outperforming gold when it falls down as low as 35. When I speak to some of my clients and classmates, we have set a goal or a mark to start trading in some of our silver at 50 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold ratio. So, and let me see if I can share some charts, and I will go in.
Yeah.
And
for those of you who are telling us that he's frozen, we know he's frozen, but every time he unfroze, he freezes again. So we just want to be able to get this interview on. So that's why I'm letting him stay frozen so he can at least continue to talk, because we can hear his audio.
Yeah.
So
you want me to try? Let me try one more time. We did that some in Brazil. Let me try one more time, and then if it freeze, we'll leave it. Let me try one more time.
Yeah. In an attempt to actually go forward and have the broadcast, y'all, I was just like, okay, I'll go for frozen as long as we can hear your voice. But in any event, there's not enough of you on here. Please share. Particularly if you are concerned about finances, and if you're in a position to obtain silver and gold, what are we looking at in terms of the ratio, and how much silver does it take to convert it into gold, and then how much silver we're going to need a certain amount of silver for day-to-day activities. Let me get back here. I think you're frozen again. We don't even have a picture. I see you here. Can you hear me? Now we have no picture. Oh my God. See. We should have left you froze like you were before. Now it's just a black screen. Let's try this one more time. This is not, I don't know what it is, but it's happening on your feed. You think it's the internet on your end, or let me see. Because you're frozen here. Let's go out one more time, see if we can get you back in. And if you're froze on the screen, we're gonna leave you froze.
All right. Okay. All right.
Y'all. That's the most. So even if you don't, if he comes back in frozen, let's just leave. I'm just gonna leave it like that, because at least we can hear what he's saying, and hopefully he will be able to share the screen. If not, while he's coming back on, get yourself a paper and pencil, paper and pen, or something that you can take notes on, because you might want to make note of some of these ratios. He just told us about I think he says 2000, 2011, something like that. It was like a ratio was 36 ounces of silver to obtain or to convert to 1 ounce of gold. And then it was as high as 120 ounces of silver to gold. But when it takes less silver to get to an ounce, then that's the time that to at least have convert. Let me see. Are you talking? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Are you
All right.
talking? All right. Okay. So here we go.
All right. So, okay. Thank you. So, basically, what we're going to go over tonight is some basic charts, and we're going to look at the time cycle that we're actually in, and some formulas actually how to accumulate from the tree plant life cycle that we study with some the consultation groups and some of the classes. So we're going to give you a sneak preview of our September upcoming up class that we're going to have on banksilver.org. If you want to just check out and see that particular class, go to banksilver.org. And we're going to be talking about the details of the green and the AI movement and the role that precious metals is going to play, of marching in this new industrial age where precious metals is going to start to take a front row seat. So let's see if I can get some charts up and really get into this presentation. So share screen. Okay. And enter screen. So I'm at enter screen. Where I go to Chrome tab?
Share
documents. Yeah, to go to documents. Okay. So
right.
let me go to my documents.
All right.
I guess it's gonna.
Is that what you wanted? I don't know if that's what
No, I'm trying to pull up the.
We'll take that off.
Okay.
You have to be on the actual page of what you want to share.
Okay, I understand. Okay. All right. So let me come back and start over. Bear with me. I'm new to this. All right. Share screen. Entire screen, Windows, Chrome tab.
Yeah, so the tab would be whatever tab that particular.
Okay, I got you. So it's on. I guess it's the entire screen because it's on a file. So let me open up the file and then I can
open the file first. Yeah.
Yes, then I go to the Chrome tab. I got you.
So where is everybody kind of tuning in from? If you don't mind share while we're trying to get this up. You can put it in the chat. Justin Hunter, you're sleepy, huh? And yet you're here. Raleigh, North Carolina in the house. Okay. Land of Flowers in the house. Detroit, the Dallas, St. Louis. Oh, the Netherlands. Awesome. Republic of Alabama. I see you. New York's Hudson Valley. Louisiana, Texas. Okay, y'all.
All right. All right.
Whenever
Well,
you're ready to share the screen.
Okay.
Texas.
I'm just lining these
Nova Scotia. We're all over the place.
Okay. Let me see. I
Tennessee.
Yeah, here's the window. Okay. All right.
Let's see ya. Okay.
Okay. I think I'm sharing it. Is it up?
I don't know what's there, but yeah, there is a tree. Is it this?
Yes.
Evansville,
Okay.
Indiana.
Yes. All right. Welcome all.
Just
How
in
many
time
we have
for
in
this
the house?
Taj night. He'll be on Friday. Thank you very much. Don't ask anymore. Thank you. All right.
How many we have in the house here?
I don't know. I can see some numbers, but it's always
All right.
yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
Santa, I'll see ya.
All right. So what we have here is the plant life timepiece cycle. And what we have to realize is that Mother Nature is the best planner, the best financial advisor, the true finance, and that everything from all the language that's spoken in the financial realm, whether it's a so-called professional finance advisors that's trying to put you into a whole bunch of digital assets, or your YouTuber or common YouTuber, or a person like myself that's in precious metals, the language is consistent with nature. For example, take the word bank, literally means a pool of water coming into one area. Take the word stream, a stream, creating a stream of income. Take the word branch, a bank branch. It's part of a tree. So what we're doing here is going directly to Mother Nature to see how she accumulates wealth and strengthens the financial bond of blossoming fruit from the tree. So you'll see here at the bottom of the screen, you'll see these different codes from the periodic table. You have zinc, ZN. You'll see 10, TI. You'll see magnesium, Mg. You'll see Cu, which is copper. And different, you see Fe, which is iron. Then you'll see Au, which is gold. And then you'll see so on and so on. Ag, which is silver. So these are the actual periodic table codes. I didn't add the numbers to them. I just put the code in the front. So gold would be AU 79. So what we're doing here is demonstrating how the roots is minding for minerals. They're minding for gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and rhodium. So you see these roots going deep into the ground, into the surface, minding for minerals. They come in contact with these minerals and they synthesize with these minerals and break the minerals down into nanoparticles and begin to absorb them. And with the conjunction of the sun, the rainwater, and the wind, this begins to create a vibrational tune. So literally music from the precious metals or minerals in the ground with the sun, the vibration of the wind, and the moisture of the rain is tuning up this tree and it is growing. So this is the tree of life, so above, so below. But this particular tree of life, we're demonstrating the concept that you are the tree of life and you're mimicking what the tree of life is doing. So in order to build a strong foundation for the tree, the roots have to go deep down into the soil and grow and grasp upon the precious metals. This is the currency or electric connection, the underworld connection, the unseen. When it comes up to the trunk and begins to grow, this is the seen part. And when the branches begin to spread out and the leaves, and then it begins to bear fruit. So what are we saying here? The tree is mining for minerals. We are mimicking the tree. So the first rule of building finance, health, and wealth, and with nature, staying consistent with nature, is one, to accumulate precious metals, mine for gold.
Okay, y'all, I'm having to come in on
mine
something
for
else. Can you hear
silver,
me?
the same as the tree.
Okay.
This is what you call building a foundation. Okay? If anyone is advising you and they're not giving you this basic concept, it may not be exactly how I'm presenting it. But the key is what we're seeing here is that the minerals are literally the foundation of the tree, the roots. As we go up the tree and onto the branch and the leaves, this is what your financial advisors are advising you to get into. Digital financial assets, whether it's stocks, whether it's various things that they're trying to put you into. These are leaves and branches of the tree. So what they're doing, if they're not advising you, which is illegal for them, remember I told you that it's illegal for any so-called professional financial advisor to advise you about precious metals. Why? Because it puts the power in your hand and you have physical, harmonized energy now. You begin to think. So they are literally creating trees without roots. If you have your finance heavily into digital assets and no precious metals, you are a walking tree without roots. And any wind that come, which could be what we're going to get into, another 2008, bam, there's your 401k. Take a nice bite out of that. There's this digital asset. There's that digital asset. So what we're doing here is peeling back and showing a demonstration of how to build a financial foundation first. And then if you decide to go into a stock, a derivative, or things like that, you have a small amount in that. And that you see how big this foundation is? So a central bank cannot be a central bank without precious metals, silver, gold, platinum. A person that has sovereignty cannot have true sovereignty if they do not have a foundation built on precious metals. What we're learning here today is how to become your own bank, and it starts with this foundation. So any questions on this particular part before I go to the charts? So I do want to open up the floor a little bit and see if the family has any questions here.
I don't see any questions.
Okay. All right. Good. We'll move on. Should I hit stop sharing the screen and then go back to it, or?
Yeah. Just a minute. Let me figure out because I'm on the phone. I have to figure out how.
Okay.
How you do this?
Okay. Let me say. I would say stop sharing, and then I'll go back into it.
Okay.
Or let me go back into.
Maybe you just don't stop sharing. Just change the page. Just because I don't know whether I can get back to doing anything because I'm on the phone.
Okay. All right. Let me see how I don't know how to change the page, but
So just go to back to your PC and open up the page that you want to show now. Go
okay.
back to the
Okay, I got you.
and click off of this one and click on to the next one.
Okay. All right. Let me click on to gold. No, that's not working. I think I got to stop sharing the screen. Let me see. I think I did this before. All right. And I'll go to the next one. Share the screen.
This is the first time I've ever had these kind of problems.
It's all right. It's all fine. The most important thing is that you're gonna get this information and okay, so it's up. It's
Uh,
waiting for.
let me figure this out. I don't know whether it's gonna let me do anything because I don't know layout, private trash, streaming. Oh gosh. Yeah, see. I don't think I don't have the presentation camera mic. Oh, I just took myself off the camera. Oh well, take myself off for a minute while I'm looking for you. Well, I don't know how to do this on this phone because I don't see. Let me see.
I don't know. You just went back to it before. So
Yeah, because I was on my computer. Right now, my computer, my PC, is frozen. I can't even
okay.
turn it off to get back
Okay.
on it. That's why.
All right. I understand the technical situations.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't even.
So
Yeah.
what we're looking at here is the gold chart. And what we try to identify is several things. Is that this particular gold chart, we want to read the cycles. So we're going to deal with 2000, the year 2000. Those who want to pull up this gold chart, it goes back to 1973, I think. And you're going to see from 2000 to 2011, from 2000, gold price was, the year 2000, gold price was at $250.
This is terrible. Can you hear me?
So $250 the year 2000. It peaked at $2,000 the year 2011. Between that cycle is an eightfold move, and you're looking at an 11-year cycle. After 2011, you will see on this chart, if we had it pulled up, you will see gold begins to come down. And as it begins to come down, it bottomed at $1,050. It broke and showed the resistance in 2016, around $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. When it broke a certain resistance, it showed that it was in a new phase, a new bull era. And what we're talking about here is the nature of the bull, which is Taurus. And you hear the stock people talk about the bull. We're going to start talking about the nature of this particular bull. And this is what I wanted to show you all tonight on this gold chart. You would have actually been able to see it, but we're not able to get it up right now. But the new cycle started in 2016. So what you do, you count from the bottom level, 1,050. We knew in the last cycle, bull cycle, it went eightfold from 2000 to 2011. Now, the bottom of this cycle is 1,050. Currently, gold is at 2,300. It's done 2x already. is looking to 8x in this cycle. And this cycle is looking to end what? It's 11-year cycle approximately. This cycle is looking to end in 2027. So we measure that from the bottom, 1,050 times 8 will bring us $8,400 gold, approximately peak price in 2007. So these probabilities are high because if I had the chart up, I can actually show you how it's unfolding. And that's the nature of how these bull cycles in precious metals move. So when you look at the chart, you'll see in 2008, when it bottomed and then shot up, it made the biggest moves in the last 2 to 3 years. So the biggest moves happened in the last 2 years. So where are we? We're going into the last 2 to 3 years. We're already in the 9th year, pretty much. So you count 2016, put 11 years on top of that. That means it's going to peak out somewhere around 2027. The same thing with silver. If I had the silver chart up now, we'll be able to show you the silver chart, and that would actually show you more of an exaggerated move. From 2000, silver, we talked about, it went from $4 to about $48. So at the bottom of this new cycle, silver follows gold. 2015, silver was about $12. So you're looking at about, on silver, it moves about 12-fold, 11 to 12-fold. So you're looking at approximately $140, $50 silver to a $240 silver. That's what you're looking at as far as the actual price that silver is going to move or peak out in 2027. So that's why I say this is a critical time frame. So good. We got the chart up. Thank you. So this is the gold chart. You'll see right here, 1973, gold was somewhere about $35. It went all the way. It shot up here. It went up to about, I guess, somewhere about $400. It pulled back, and then it went up to somewhere about $800. That's a cycle. So during this cycle, it created this long downtrend all the way from 1981 to 2000. This is called a base. Okay. Whenever it creates a long base like that, you know something major is ready to come for it to take off. Now, during this time, 1971 is where the US went off the gold and silver standard. So that basically means that before, they can only print as much money as they had in gold. When they went off the gold and silver standard, they can print as much money as they want. So this created these big spikes because they started printing all of this money, and gold sniffs it out and begins to catch up. And what you had during this period of time is a base building period of time where gold was adjusting to this new atmosphere of not being on the gold standard or the dollar just being printed. And 2008-07, you remember when the stock market crashed, that's really when they started printing a lot of money. So what's happening here, because they're printing trillions and trillions of dollars, and the dollar is on life support, you seeing these cycles get shorter. You see that? So you have one cycle here. This is a bull cycle. Bam. From 2000 to 2011. 2008, you can see it made the biggest moves. It came down, bottomed here, 2015, broke resistance, and 2016 showed a new bull cycle. Boom, went sideways, created a flag. Boom, took out the all-time high. There's no resistance up here because gold has never been up here before. So the probability, you can see that it's in the bull cycle. Remember, this cycle is trending downwards. From here, it's still trending upwards. It never came back down here and broke none of these resistance. You can see the bottom and then the lower and the lower highs here. Boom, same thing here. Lower highs. These are called lower highs. When they drop down, but they don't drop down further than the last one, these are called lower highs. So that means you're still in the bull cycle. Now, what we're doing in charting, we're looking at the nature of gold. If you put this chart in 2000 to 2011 to any other chart, like the real estate, you will see real estate was low when gold was high. So that means your buying power, if you're holding gold and you want real estate, you wait for gold to begin to peak out, or silver, and you take your gold and silver and you buy your real estate or your property with that via cashing it out or trading it. Okay. Now, the nature of precious metals begins with nature itself. The way this bull is running is bucking. When you see these sharp drops, it dropping off a lot of people, and then you'll see it go sideways, then you'll see it takes off. So it's catching you off guard. If you was playing stocks, you would be all emotional with this. But because you're playing physical precious metals, you're solid. You're not doing, you're waiting for more of a longer term play out, in this. You can transfer the nature of learning these charts by the nature of people. All you're doing is forecasting. For example, if you had someone that hung out with a certain kind of people, just say that drink a lot of beer, eventually that person is going to start drinking beer because you're dealing with the nature of how things go or the consistency. If a person eats a certain way, does yoga, breathing techniques, you're going to see a consistency. If they do that daily or every other day, you can say the probability of that person being healthier in the longer run is a good probability. So this is the same thing that we're doing here. We're understanding the nature of it and we're looking at it unfold. So the probability of gold hitting 7,000 to 8,000 is good, a very good chance. So we accumulate silver so that we can actually trade in for our gold later on. And I want to show the silver chart and get to that. Is any question? Anybody have any questions while I'm pulling this silver chart up?
don't see any. Oh, here's one. Okay, well, I don't know if you know this. This question says, can you explain the correlation between precious metals and sovereignty?
Okay. So precious metals and sovereignty. Sovereignty is basically creating a foundation. What you're saying is that where I stand, I am that I am. You are the tree. If you want to talk about the foundation of sovereignty, it is I am that I am. The stronger the tree, again, the tree is built on minerals, literally. So you are the tree. You start your foundation by building it on minerals, precious metals. Then that sovereignty branches out and bear fruit. You are bearing fruit with ever endeavor. So that foundation of precious metals, now you become a bank. That's what we're going to talk about in the class. Now you can issue your own insurance. Now you can finance your own whatever, house or whatever, because you're moving as a bank. In order to do that, you have to accumulate precious metals frequently. That's what the tree is doing. It's accumulating precious metals frequently, daily. That's what it's doing. It's in the harvest in that cycle of doing that. So with that in mind, we have to keep in mind that, you know, these precious metal cycles are, I don't know how to get back to this particular page, but if I can, I'll just continue talking. Let me try to share the screen one more time. These precious metal cycles are giving us a window of opportunity to build our bank and to trade in. It's much more to this because there are other precious metals. When gold and silver and platinum is high, palladium and rhodium is lower. So there's a way that you build your bank on ratios as well. Okay, here we go. So I got the silver chart up now. So when you look at this silver chart, you see these parabolic moves straight up. Again, what is it showing you? The same concept of the gold. It's following gold. It shot up. It literally went from $4 and something like that in 70s, just like it was before, or dollars, something like that, and went to like $35, or no, went to like $14 from 35 cents, and then went from literally about $4 to $50, created a big base, and took off. Whenever you have a huge base like this, that means this is a continuous bull cycle, if you wanted to call it that. That means you're going into a massive bull run, and that's what we're in today. And the beauty of accumulating silver and the nature of it spikes much higher than gold. It outperforms gold, and it percentage-wise, is that you can accumulate it easily. Today, I literally brought this maple leaf for $32. So I'm in New York, so I'm taking the opportunity. My workshop is in the Diamond District on 47th Street. Every day that I go there, I take the opportunity to buy as much silver as I can. It's a game, you know, because I know the cycle that we're in, and when it starts to move, it's going to move quickly. Now, the short-term cycle that we're in, I give you all a glimpse into that. And we somewhere in the history of that, somewhere right before the 2008 crash. And what you're going to see, and pretty much all the crashes, you're going to see precious metal run up, and then the whole entire stock market will crash. This is the setup between now and the next 6 to 8 months. In the next 3 to 4 months, you may see silver run up to $40, $45. Gold, you may see that run up, pull back, and slingshot and run up to about 2,800 in the next 3 to 4 months. When you see that, just know that's a topping in this particular short cycle of the bull cycle. And if you look at the stock chart, the NASDAQ, the SP 500 or whatever, you'll see that it is ready to go for its last leg and go and shoot up. And then you're going to get a huge pullback, about 30 to 40 to 50% in the stock market. And it may happen through months at a time. That's going to pull down everything. You may see gold pull itself back down to 22 or 2,300, the price we're at now. You may silver pull down from 45 back down to 32 or something. When that bottoms out again, that's when we're going to get this rocket ship that we saw in 2008 when everything crashed, and you see how gold rocketed out and silver rocketed out for the last 3 years. This is called the finale. And that's when you're going to see the $7,000 gold, and that's when you're going to see your $200, $250, or $150 silver. And what we trading on is accumulating silver, and we trading on ratios. So that's one of the key opponents to gathering silver, is that you're able to trade on ratios, and this gives you a buying power. For example, I know my screen is frozen, but can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I give you all a good example. Right now, if you purchase 50 ounces of silver, it would cost you somewhere about $1,600. If you went and purchased 1 ounce of gold, it'll cost you somewhere about $2,400. So that's an $800 difference. Now, if Dr. G brought an ounce of gold and she brought an ounce of gold today for $2,400, and I brought 50 ounces of silver today for $1,600, and I waited for the ratio to come back down to 50 to 1, 50 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold, I can then take my silver and trade it in for 1 ounce of gold, no matter if the price of gold is $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000. You see? So these are techniques and formulas that we use based upon buying in strength when on ratios. When one commodity is weaker, we use the stronger commodity and buy with that. All right.
There are some questions about let me see if I can find it, about copper, whether or not copper is a good.
Yeah.
What about copper?
Yeah.
Is it good to acquire us? Here we go.
Yes. So copper is an excellent play. That's what we're going to talk about in the upcoming class, the role that copper is going to play in this whole industrial industry. As far as accumulating it, yes, it's good to accumulate it, to actually use it in this industrial industry, whether you're creating generators, jewelry, purifying waters, colloidal, or whatever, as far as the application of it. Far as trading it in for like you do with precious metal, silver and gold, you have to have so much of it. It's too bulky to use in that manner. But the new revolution, or this revolution that's being marched in, is going to be heavily using copper. For example, copper helps reduce radiation and the price point is cheaper. So you're going to see copper in a lot of clothing, in the hospitals. It kills germs. You're going to see in nano copper and material. You're going to see copper used in a lot of door handles, doorknobs. You're talking about a whole retooling of houses. So anybody that's in construction or remodeling or design, interior design, you want to look at designing more with copper because you're designing more with a purpose. And this is an old perspective, because if you look at where I'm standing here is a brownstone, and they have a lot of copper and brass fixtures here. Brass has a composition of copper, so it's actually killing germs. It's actually reducing radiation. It's harmonizing the house. So you're going to see a resurging of this going back into houses, whether it's the cabinets, whether it's the refrigerator, the doorknobs, all of these touch surfaces is going to come back in copper and brass into the house heavily, because the introduction of Wi-Fi and the various radiations that's in the air from all electronics and many things like that, and the unharmonized energy that's coming in, that's creating dis-ease. So copper is an excellent play on that level, and we get more in depth in our class.
Here's a question. Should we be focusing on regular silver or MS-70?
MS-70. I'm not sure what MS-70 is, but you should be buying 0.999 silver, pure silver.
I think MS-70 may be, if I'm not mistaken, the ones that get graded and they're put in the holograph. They normally have a holographic seal on the their encasement that they're in.
Well, again, you when you get into that, you're just complicating things, and you should look for the lowest premium that you can get into, whether you're buying grains, coins, or bars. You should look, or jewelry. You should look into getting silver as it is first. When you get into these collectibles, you get into these bigger premiums, and that's a whole nother different field.
So that's not as important as its percentage of content to whatever other alloy might be in there to make it, to strengthen it or whatever.
Yeah, you're getting into the brands, of it, or rather it's flatware. And that's another thing that I want to talk about, is that the flatware is extremely important. And when we started talking about sovereignty and using these actual cups, silver plates, silver spoons, forks on a daily ritual, which is extremely important, because this gets us in our royalty state of mindset. And it does a lot. It helps with us as far as our health, our wealth, and it creates rituals. You'll be looking forward to eating that meal that you prepared out of that silver plate, and your juices drinking out of that silver cup, and your forks and things. So it puts you in a whole nother mindset of royalty. And what you're doing is creating wealth, foundational wealth around you, whether it's coins, then you go into the jewelry part, and then you go into the flatware. So this is all your immediate wealth that's being actually used in a way.
Yeah, I started collecting. When I started collecting the coins, then I became a lot more alert or astute to, just like you said, other things other than coins. If I be at an antique shop or something, and I got I think of like a cake knife, or is he there? We lose you. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So I got like a cake knife. I was at a yard, at an outdoor swap meet or whatever, one of those people sell or used stuff, and a guy sold me for $5, and I jumped on it. 5 notes. It was a silver, and I was wondering if I could reach down here and get it, but he sold me an old-fashioned razor in a velvet case, in a velvet box, the razor and all that stuff, and the razor was silver.
Yes.
So he doesn't know what he has. So, I got the silver. I have it. I think I paid like 5 notes, and somebody else, they were selling stuff out there, and they just didn't know what they had. So I started looking at the inscriptions on the back and seeing if it was, I never thought to like bring a cloth with me, but when it starts to tarnish or turn, you can kind of know what not turn, like sort of oxidation that gets on it, so forth.
Yes.
But yeah, so I started looking at forks and knives and platters. I have all kinds of things, and I just becoming a lot more aware of things that people may not know the value of what they have, and they'd be willing to part with.
Yes. It's very important. It's a lot of treasures, out there, and again, we have to look at certain things, from perspective of building wealth. The reprogramming is so critical. And, I was speaking to a young lady today that has a jewelry company, and she's been in it 5 years. For one, it's just as an individual person that's looking to build wealth, the tree concept is important. As a business person that's not in the jewelry business, the tree concept is important. It's the foundation. To be in the jewelry business and not understand this concept is very critical, because it's extremely important, because you're literally dealing with these precious metals but don't understand the true value or the foundational value of it. And it gets us chasing this fiat currency, So I give an example for the future. What you're going to have very soon, as technology begins to shrink in the jewelry industry, we use to examine jewelry, the compositions of it, is an X-ray machine. When this first came out in the mid or early 2000s, this X-ray machine was about 50,000. Now it's down to about 10,000 or 5,000. So basically, you're able to put the quarter, a silver coin in there, whatever jewelry, and then tell the content that's in there. It'll scan it. Well, a lot of people talk about that they're going to remove the dollar, the paper currency,
right?
And that is true, and it's on its way out. So what's going to be left? The precious metal is going to be left to trade. But how can you check the purity and the quality of the precious metals? Well, that's going to end up right there in your phone. That technology is going to shrink to your phone. You'll be able to scan any jewelry and see the content live and send it right over to me. And it's like, bam, I have this. Okay, and make trade right then and there. That's what technology is going to meet. That's when you're going to start seeing technology meet these applications in the computer age. That's how you're going to be trading. Because we see this, what I'm trying to show you all is that we can talk about these things. Oh, it's the dollar's going to disappear. Then we're going to be trading coins. But we got to think this thing through. What is that going to look like? And do you want to capitalize on that? You might have computer and app builders out there right now, techs, that can come to this class and we can talk about it. They can sign up at Bank Silver. We can talk about, and they come into this class and we can expose them to these concepts. And these tech, IT, app builders, they can prepare these things. Imagine how many people are going to be downloading apps like this. You're talking about millions. Imagine charging $1 for a download. So these are the opportunities that I'm talking about. A lot of people just looking at the opportunities. Oh, the price of gold and everything is going to go up, and silver. That's one thing. The industrial revolutionary part, as we talked about, of retooling homes with copper and brass and even silver. Now we're talking about another part of AI and technology, how the testing of precious metals is going to be done right through your phone. And that is going to be a genius move, who's ever on top of that. So this is why we have these classes, because we have people from all walks of life to come into these classes so we can gear them and say, this is what's happening in your industry. This is what's happening in the clothing industry. These are the new things that's coming out. This is the future. And we can show them, for example, how colloidal is going to play a major role with preserving foods, colloidal silver. Instead of using all of those other preservatives, you're now seeing colloidal silver being used to preserve various drinks, whether it's coconut water, whatever it is. So there is a new revolution that's coming in, but it's going to be more, not just in the price, but more in the business side of the industrial revolution.
Let me ask you this. In terms of, when you started out, you began to, and I know you probably perked up a lot of ears, because you certainly perked up mine, because you said something about creating your own banks and your own insurance, because right now I'm about sick and tired and had it with the insurance for a couple of reasons. But those things, will they have, when you say your own, are we talking group banks? Are we talking individual family banks that once you have the precious metals, you're able to set up some way and that your silver or something, gold becomes, or your precious metals become collateral? What are we talking about?
Sure. Yeah, I give you examples. And see, what we're dealing with is a concept. And a lot of times we talk about banks, we're looking at the commercial, so-called corporation side. If we look at the bank for the natural perspective that it is, first, nature, a pool of water giving access to be distributed. So if you're pooling precious metals, for example, one of the ways I use my precious metal as a bank, if you go to NkiruGroupSite.com, you will see my watches, and you will see that we offer an equity with my watches. So for example, if you buy one of my timepieces for $10,000, we issue you an equity certificate in precious metals. It can be, we have it in paper as well. And we state that you can trade this in for 60 or 70% equity. So if you paid 10,000 for it, you can get a loan for 7,000, or we'll buy it back for 7,000. Well, banks issue or allows a bank has permission now to issue financial statements or financial tools. That's all a bank does. It sits up and writes up financial tools. Oh, we'll finance your house. We'll buy it. Just pay us monthly. These are called streams. So you're able to, if you have a pool of finance, you're able to buy that house now or create a development and then sell the houses and finance it yourself and create that income stream. So with the equity, because we're moving as a bank, it allows me to set aside that 7,000 in precious metals. When my client comes, may need it for investment, may need it for anything else, emergency, we are there to give them that funds. So we're moving and acting as a bank. What that does, because we attached it to a product, all banks are doing is attaching that to a financial tool as a mortgage. They financing the house. So I'm literally financing my watches and creating a safe haven for my clients of creating equity in pieces. So if a person is an artist and they build in their bank, they can literally create these equity certificates with their seal and say, here's a painting. This is 10,000. You have $7,000 equity. There's no other artist doing that. This will give the artist power, for one. And then they acting as a bank. And then for three, it creates a revolving door for the clients to keep buying more because you're protecting that entrance by creating a foundational floor. So these are just examples of how you use your bank. I have many examples to explain. And this is true sovereignty, because now you're actually writing financial instruments or tools to create income streams or to do applications of business. I hope I answered that one.
Well, you did in the sense, but I think I hear what you're saying with regard to, say, a business owner or artisan who has something that they can, you value what you do. So in other words, if I create something and I have the right to value it, to put what its value is. So, if I'm in that kind of a situation where I'm creating, but if I'm just I'm just the matriarch of all my children and grandchildren and great grandchildren, and want to, build a legacy or, for them, or have something that would allow us to bypass the quote unquote system and be able to, like, for instance, I have a situation, and I'll just use this as an example. I was thinking about insurance. When I purchased my home, I thought I was purchasing, y'all, so don't correct me. But when I went through that process, apparently I took out mortgage insurance, but, and it was almost like it was like the value of the house, but it went down like every so many years until I thought what it would do was stick at like 20,000 and just be, if you never used it. And I just happened to pull out the policy the other day and looked at it, and it said termination September 24th, 2024. And I was like, so I've been investing in this policy for just about 30 years, only for it to go away with nothing because I didn't die, my husband or I didn't, weren't deceased within that period. I mean, we still got time, until September, but I'm not planning to go anywhere. But just the fact that as of the 25th of September, all of that I poured in for 30 years goes for naught. And so I was like, I could have put that in a savings account or something. I could have tucked it under the mattress for 30 years.
Exactly. I mean, in these, again, these are other instruments that's been assurance and things like that these banks create. And, when you get under these mortgages and whatever you're getting under these financial institutes, they create these other games for you to abide by and pay by. But when you're moving more into buying out the house with cash or buying it outright, your leverage, you're able to see the game from a whole nother perspective. So, for example, your vulnerability of going into some kind of insurance like that, you would have a whole nother look because you're looking at it from more of a sovereignty and bank institution because you have that weight and that foundation to move. So, but because we're not moving like that, and we got to finance, we got to do this, we got to do this. See, I understand there's nothing wrong with that. But it comes to a point that when we do that, we're saying we really can't afford what we're getting. Because we all do that. It just seems like by nature, but in Africa, you would have to pay your rent up even for a whole year. You see? In advance. So what happens is the discipline is higher. And
but over there, when maybe a whole year would equal out to a one month of someplace, maybe.
I understand. I understand, but it depends on what currency you're using and what kind of job you're working. But my point is that when you move with this foundation of building up, you move in the ladder of a strength, and it gives you another look to say, let me look at this insurance. Why am I doing this? Is it something better? Is it, can I pull this over here and actually pull this back if nothing happens? You see what I mean? So
I wasn't even thinking that.
I'm not saying you per se. What we're trying to do is create an example. You see what I mean? For
right.
people to show to see the difference between, moving as an institutional sovereignty. And, we was trained to not move this way. We was trained to say, okay, for example, the person say, they asked me the other day, what's my credit score? And I said, I don't even know. I don't even care. And that's detrimental to somebody else. Be like, man, you're crazy. But don't you want a credit card? Well, I have a bank. I have my own credit card. If I need a credit card of $2,000, I can go get it because that's what gold is today. It's $2,300. That's 1 ounce of gold is a credit card for $2,300. What about if you need $10,000? Okay, I can go get that credit card too. What about 20? You keep going on and on. But my point is that now you're coming from a place of strength. So if I want to do something, or if I want to rent a car and say, oh, you need collateral, this, that, okay, what the fuck you need? What do you need? Oh, we can't rent a car to you, Mr. Rich. You don't have a credit card. Oh, fuck it. Okay, I'll buy a car. How about that? Okay. So that I'm just trying to show you is ways when you moving with this bank, you moving in power, you know?
And this
And
is what we would learn in the class, the
yeah,
course.
that's banksilver.org. And you know, we have the class coming up. And so it's so many perspectives and under layers to it. I was talking to someone today, and she was jewelry industry, and you know, looking to do some partnership. And she was, oh, I'm looking for, you know, I have a team. We was talking about investors, you know, and but if you're your own bank, you have your own investment, you know, and
A few years ago, everybody, I mean, it wasn't, but there were
mhm,
where you went at the mall, there was some kind of booth there. We buy silver, we buy broken gold, we buy broken jewelry. And I realized looking back that they were, people with these short-term gratification would, grab all of the, grandmom's stuff and their mom's stuff and maybe some of their stuff and pile it up for a few cents or, a few dollars, not cents, at these kiosks in malls. But at the time, it seemed, looking back, that they knew that they needed to get as much, gather as much gold and silver as possible for what we are seeing now. Is that possible? Would you think that that's the reason? I mean, and the second part, can we ourselves, or should we ourselves, begin to like pool our resources, such as the broken jewelry and so forth, the gold, and start to amass some level of a bank or something?
sure. I mean, they always have these different, you know, companies. When you start to see the price go up, they begin to buy and accumulate, and you know, they make margins, and then they sell it or whatever they want to do, you know. But the most important thing is that these people that's cashing in or whatever, for whatever reason, that's fine. But the key is to understand why it's happening now, and what cycle are we in. And
Right.
this is the true way of building wealth. For example, when precious metals is up, your Rolex, your Bentley, your Rolls Royce, your Mercedes, your all of this stuff, your house, all of this stuff is low, you see? And if you want that, for example, say if you wanted the Bentley, an older Bentley, say the Bentley right now is about 70, 80,000 used Bentley or Rolls Royce. You can take literally 10,000 and put that into silver and make the right moves with it by holding it and waiting for the ratio of gold to drop. You can literally turn that into 60,000 or 70,000. And that Bentley will come down to about 50 or 40,000 because someone needs to dump it, you know? And now that 10,000 turned to 60 or 70, and then that Bentley that you wanted is even less. So you buying with strength. There's the bank go again. And these are waves that we have to understand to do business. These cycles
So
are
how are
very.
those transactions actually made? I mean,
Mhm.
somebody has silver or has gold. Somebody has what somebody else has what they want, or
Sure.
they. So how does one make those levels of transaction based on, I got gold, you got, what I want.
Sure. So now you're
Without
talking about,
bartering.
sure. Now you're talking about basically liquidity. There's another language, liquid. The liquidity. So the most liquid asset on earth is gold. That basically means that if I had a kilo of gold and I wanted to pull 50,000, and you had any other asset, a house, car, painting, sculpture, or whatever, who can turn that into $50,000 the fastest? I can literally pull $50,000 less than an hour. With all your other assets, whether it's a house or whatever, it would take you days, even weeks, to pull that cash out of that particular asset. So now you holding the most liquid asset on earth. So whether the person that you want to trade with want to just take the asset as it is, or you can easily turn it into any currency anywhere in the world, wherever you are. That's because it has the highest demand. So gold and silver has applications that creates demands. So these applications of gold that's used in the quantum computers and the Intel chip, that's a demand. Gold that's used in various different computers or medicine, that's a demand. Many applications for silver and gold. So you have a product that always has some kind of demand. The energy itself does not tarnish, does not rust. So that's why it's the most liquid asset on earth. So when you're holding silver, gold, and platinum, you're holding the trump cards. So whether you turn it into a currency, your local currency, wherever you are, and buy that asset that you want or need, boom, you have the ultimate asset. And what we're learning is how to manipulate, use it as a tool of strength and coming from a place of strength. And that is true sovereignty, or one of the expressions of true sovereignty.
I was just, somebody said someone needs to share this live to Floyd Mayweather.
Well, I'm sure he has some kind of advisors. I'm sure he has some kind of goal.
Stuck in Dubai because they won't take his currency or something. His fiat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's from what I heard, he was not able to. They wouldn't let him leave because whatever, they don't want fiat. So he's rich in fiat, but then it has no value over there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're holding him hostage or something.
They hold him hostage. And it's coming down to that. It's so many commodities, it's so many currencies out there. They can pick and choose. Oh, right. we don't want that. We want, but it's always that gold is the foundation, and that's what China is buying. That's what Russia is buying. That's what Japan is buying, and anybody that has a certain amount of understanding of history, ancient history and finance, they buying it, whether they talking about it or not, but what we're doing again, as we're wrapping up, is trying to reprogram our minds to understand, to accumulate in the cycles, and then go into the applications, and then go into how we can flex our muscles with our particular bank. But it's not in the way that most people think, of moving, like your branch bank on the corner,
Okay.
It's moving in another manner, especially with products.
Like it's mindset too. Like you said, it has a lot to do with how you see yourself, where you see yourself, and because I could see a lot of folks being afraid, if you will, to call what they're doing up. Say, I'm going to pay the bank, and I don't need the system, because we become so dependent upon putting our finances in the hands and the control of somebody else, not realizing that when we do that, it's no longer ours. Well, it's not ours anyway, because it's their fiat. But we don't, at any moment, like we're waiting now for the other shoe to drop. We've been hearing it, we've been hearing, that it's, it's on life support. It's being, actually artificially, kept alive, and it's really dead, and nobody wants it, and the only place you can really use it is here. So, but folks are still, we still got it all in their bags, because we're like, well, what are we gonna do? But if they shut it down, and it has, and they decide to devalue their own devalued currency, and it's not even currency, they're fiat. What are they going to give the people, or are they going to give people anything in exchange? And is it going to be this digital currency that gives them the right to tie it to some sort of social credit system, and say, oh, you shot too much this week, they get me, you can't spend anymore, you can't do anything else with it, or I don't like what you put on YouTube, so we're not going to let you expend anything for a month, whether you have to pay mortgage or whatever. They're not going to, those kinds of things. Is that what we're looking at? And does gold and silver assets, do those assets, will that exempt us from those kinds of things?
Yeah, so what you're talking about is a concept of basically China, and you creating a virtual and physical jail, and people are participating in that by getting involved in things and all of these digital assets, and volunteering to continue to get involved into various digital assets, whether it's social media, a lot of different things like that. And these are basically, in short, you're dealing with a frog that's in a pot, and they just continuously turning up the heat, you know.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand what's going on, but the more you get suited with precious metals, not just a trade issue, but as industrial revolutionary issue. For example, copper purifying water, copper and magnets creating its own generator, for energy. I don't know if you can hear me. The screen went out, but let me see.
Here I am. Oh gosh, how do I get rid of this?
Are we back up? Can you hear me?
There's me 2 times. Let me remove one of me.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, precious metals will play. It will exempt us, but see, we have to look at it from another perspective. Is that the financial trade? Yes, that's one thing, but the true freedom comes from the applications of it. For example, if you took copper and magnets, you're literally able to create your own generator to create electrical energy, to turn on your lights. This is the true access, or the true applications, or the true uses of precious metals. That is the demand. So the technology that's being discovered, that's always been hidden, we couldn't have this live without silver and gold. These things are coming to the forefront, and this is the thing. This is why they pushing people to get into these stocks and play these stock games, because it's making them lazy. And they not talking about this true green movement that's coming, because we're at the brink. You don't have to pay for electricity. You don't have to get someone to purify your water. You don't have to have a big irrigation system somewhere that you don't even know how it works. You can have your own. Precious metal is going to play a whole role. So all of these homes that you see today is going to become completely obsolete. This is the impact. A lot of people don't understand what's coming down the pipe. The impact of the average house today is going to become completely obsolete once these new homes come on the market. Round homes, homes that have their own recycling system, free energy. Okay. They have their own plant. They have their own small micro farms. These are the new homes. These precious metals plays a huge role in this. Copper plays a huge role. So once these homes start to hit the market, all of this shit that they building now, they're not going to be able to sell. It can become obsolete. In other words, it's like you driving a diesel compared to electric car or something, or the car that's running on water, which they have now. So this is what I'm trying to get people to wrap their heads around in this class. They don't see this coming, how these industries are tooling up. These are conversations that's happening with the so-called multi-billionaires and millionaires and trillionaires behind the scenes, because they thinking 50 years ahead. So this is what we're talking about. This is why we came out with art currency and replacing alcohol, all of these things like that. So we're setting up for the application. That is the huge boom. The business side, this is like life-changing overnight. So a lot of people just looking at a price going up on a computer screen. That's just one area. That's not even 5-10% of what precious metal is going to do in the future. But you have to be equipped in whatever industry that you're in. That's where you study how precious metals is going to evolve and take that industry to a whole nother level. And that's the whole key to this pie. They just seeing the front end, but the back end is phenomenal. I can't even, we couldn't stay on here long enough to talk about the applications in many industries. And, I've been studying this stuff for a long time and studying various industries so I can be versed. And then people come and I ask them to study such and such, and they come back and they say, man, it's right here. It's right on time, So that's pretty much where we at. And that's why I wanted to get on your call again in the show to show the urgency of what's going on behind the scenes, behind the industries, and to get people excited about what's happening about the price, but the real prize is what's behind it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's amazing to know that for me personally, that I finally heard what was being said and started gathering the silver.
Yes. Yes. So any questions before we close out? I know we're coming to our end of the time.
I don't see any, and I'm having this crazy echo. This has been the worst technical.
No, don't say that. It's all fine. It's all fine. It's the technical
glitch.
It's always there. Let me let the people know where I'll be at. In Brooklyn, 4th of July, I'll be at the African African Art Festival. And I'll have some jewelry, silver jewelry out there from 4th of July weekend all the way up till Sunday. And that's in Brooklyn, New York, African Arts Festival. You can Google that. And I'll be set up in the area called Sankofa Row. Those who are in the New York area that want to stop by and pick up some silver jewelry and meet me, or, just to come past and say hi and, chop it up a little bit. I'll be there. And I'm setting up to be in Atlanta at the Brother Rich event. I think is in August.
Okay.
Yes. And I'll be at the Invest Fest in August in Atlanta as well. So those who want to come down and meet me. And then we have our lecture at banksilver.org. It's coming up in September. And what I'm planning, that is an online lecture, but what I'm planning is to do a bonus. And it may be in Atlanta, it may be in New York as well. 2 places, a bonus. Whoever buys those tickets can actually come to the live lecture for free. So, I'm here in the States and I want to engage. The cycle brought me here, one of the major reasons that I'm back in the States, because this cycle is about ready to peak out. So I'm doing a tour, and you're going to see more of me going up and down the East Coast, and then the West Coast as well. And we're going to start to do some power precious metal live lectures. So I want y'all to look out for that. And, those are my announcements.
Well, that's good. That's amazing. And this has been very informative. We, as I said, if you missed the beginning, just do the replay, and you will not see us as much as normally doing an interview, but the information continued to flow. And I'm so happy that we didn't skip a beat. When I was locked out, Brother Steven, I didn't know where I was, trying to get on my phone, and then I realized he was still teaching. So that was great.
Yeah. And if you have something, you think of something, Dr. G, and you want to bring me to Delaware or one of your engagements, I'll be happy to come there and speak live.
Okay.
Yes.
Somebody asked, what about us in the middle of the country?
What about the middle of the country?
You talked about the East Coast and the West Coast, but you didn't talk about.
Okay, in the middle of the country. Well, Texas. I think I'll be up in Chicago as well. We have a show up in Chicago, and so we'll be moving around. And I think we even have London on the look.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be moving around, because the thing is that in this conscious community, or the community of where we gather of like minds, there are not a lot of precious metal ministers out there. I know it's some stacking groups, but to get the full essence of it, from the spirituality, the mental, the applications, the physical, this kind of teaching, this whole teaching is very rare, and so I feel privileged that the ancestors are using me as a tool to get this information out, and that I'm working in these workshops and training and teaching other classmates, and I'm learning as well. So they can, portray and get this message out there as well, and become coaches or teachers, so this will be blossoming throughout this whole industrial format, as these applications, continue to grow.
So here's one I want to know: any plans to visit Canada?
In Canada, well, I was out salsa dancing last night, and a young lady, she was from Toronto. So it's interesting they brought up Canada. I don't know, and it's a couple good shows, but I would have to get to Canada during the summertime because it gets pretty cold up there in the fall and winter. So if I don't make it up there this summer, I'll be in Canada next summer because I heard it's very beautiful up there.
Well, listen, I would like to thank you again for coming back on and sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, sparking in somebody who views this the not the urgency to start collecting that game or taking stock of what they have and see what they can transfer from fiat into silver and gold. And as you probably better right now to be getting the silver at a later date, you can trade that for gold when gold goes down and silver goes up. Am I correct?
Yeah. When the ratio gets stronger for silver. Right. Yes. Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily have to go down, but silver, one has to actually go
up higher.
Yeah.
It is just stronger. So excellent opportunity, a lot to cover, and not a lot of people are looking to go into these things, but it's getting more popular. And let me just say this before I go: when this space, you're going to see a lot of people run into this space when these prices go up. And also, as these prices go up, you're going to hear a lot of talk about these applications: nano silver in clothing, nano silver in curtains, reducing radiation. You're going to hear a lot of talk about various industries popping up and using these precious metals in their industry on the forefront. And so you're going to see an explosion. Yes. What do you think about gold backs? I don't know too much about it, but if it's gold, I guess it's good. If it's made of gold, I guess it's good. If one of the people are taking it, if people are taking it for trade, we have to understand, again, the reason why people take things for trade is because it's coming from a so-called source that a multitude of people take it. And then when you even go and use a $100 bill or 50 or 20, they test it and see if it's genuine. So, the whole, genuine fake. So, the whole idea of testing something to see if it's genuine, wouldn't you rather be able to test silver and, and trade that out or pieces of gold or whatever? So it's all the same. It's just that in that system, you're receiving real energy, But
right, money is an energy game. I read a book of that. Money is an energy game, and I heard Jack Wright. Somebody asked her how was she faring this a few months ago. How does she manage, and like about money? And she said, I don't worry about money. She said, I am the money. And she said, and money doesn't worry about itself.
You become the money.
Yeah.
You're all the money. So I listen once again, Dr. G, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being here with you, and you having me back or forward. And, this is a truth channel, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
I was trying to see if one of us wasn't frozen, but we both frozen.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, listen, thank you so much. Thank you, each and every one of you, for which twin has story. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, baby.
I love you. Thank you, Brother Nkiru. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you.
Have a great
And,
one.
I'm gonna get out of here before I do something silly.
All right.
One of us. One of us.
Thank you,
It's a great
family.
she cannot be here on Friday, y'all. So first Friday comes around real quick. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me get out of here. Make sure you check out his. Really? Oh shoot. Yeah, that's it.